Phew! I am beat. Sorry for skipping out on training today, guys. The Justice League really needed my help. There was this evil science guy who built all these robots, and he made this ultimate creation called a Meso. He was super strong, too. It had all of the League's powers and almost destroyed the Earth with a self-destruct thingy. But it's okay. I just teleported him away and we're all good now.
Wow, that sounds like a really interesting battle. I'm glad the League was able to handle it. I would have come to assist if you needed me.
Oh man, that would have been great. I'm sure you could have taken him. Anyway, I'm gonna turn in early tonight.
Bed? Now? Moon just rose.
Yeah, that's when most people go to bed.
Must we?
No! You two can stay up if you want. I sleep so hard I might as well be dead.
As the martial artist retired to his bedroom, Gohan and Cassandra were left to their own devices. At first, Gohan wanted to use the evening as an opportunity to study, but he found he was unable to focus, as Cassandra just kept staring at him as he read his book. So, he asked if she wanted to do some training, but the girl shook her head, implying that all they did was train. So Gohan instead thought of a devious scheme that had been on his mind.
Ah! You got the ice cream headache first!
The young Saiyan jumped from his seat proudly, holding his spoon in the air like a trophy, as Cassandra slammed her head to the table and held her ears after pushing away the massive tub of ice cream the two had dug out from the deep freezer. The celebrations were cut short as both students jumped when a bolt of lightning appeared in the middle of the room. Gohan quickly rushed over to Cass as they assumed battle positions, expecting this to be some kind of attack. They'd seen a few villains just show up on Kent Farm looking for a fight, though they weren't sure who this could be. Lightning sparked all over the room. Gusts of wind pushed the kitchen table and chairs around. The scraps of junk Kakarot had left about swirling in the air, as a sphere appeared in the center of this indoor storm. From it emerged heroes from beyond time, saviors of utopian society, the Legion of Superheroes. Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, Cosmic Boy, and Matter Eater Lad.
Good. You two are here. You have to act quickly, otherwise, we're doomed.
The time bubble expanded out and engulfed the two heroes. Its walls began to spin as light and space bent around them, the sphere moving through the time stream. From outside the sphere, the young heroes could see events throughout time play as the past and future became one. The Mogo tree shrunk and sank into the ground. A scientist gazed into a portal, saw only a red cape. A city of neon gripped by apathy. A young Kakarot helping a boy with red hair. The sphere continued to move, followed by a red blur, moving faster and faster until the end of the crisis. Bombs and tanks rolled past as heroes rose to fight them. Far away, a tyrant sun attacked 1 million heroes, and a war in heaven. That's evil won. Then, it all came to a screeching halt. The Legion, shrinking the time bubble around themselves, and leaving Cassandra and Gohan in an unfamiliar land at an unknown time. Their heads spinning from everything that had just happened.
You must solve the mystery of the Crimson Gourd.
Just as quickly as it appeared, the time sphere vanished, stranding the two heroes in the past. Gohan dropped the spoon he was holding on the ground, his brilliant mind processing all the implications of everything that had just occurred.
We've just broken every known law of physics and nature. We shouldn't be here. The ramifications of our every action could alter the course of history forever. Oh no, I dropped the spoon! The butterfly effect! The dust I just disturbed could cause the moon landing to fail. Or we could even be farther back than that. What if humans are yet to invent fire? It was a very delicate process, a 1 in a million chance. Do I pick the spoon up? Or could the added disturbance cause Rome never to rise? Cass, whatever you do, don't touch anything!
Cassandra, ignoring Gohan's advice, reached out and punched the boy hard in the face. He recoiled from the shock, and his eyes looked up into the sky to see a commercial airliner flying far overhead. Now knowing that they weren't that far back in time did help Gohan feel a little less anxious. He looked at Cass and saw that she'd moved on and was rummaging through some bushes. Her calm demeanor caused him to feel very embarrassed about his prior outburst, though his stomach did do one last flip when he saw a butterfly pass near Cassandra as she swatted it away casually. The two young heroes eventually found their bearings, Gohan's incredible knowledge of the world allowing him to quickly deduce that their current location was China, at least a decade or so in the past. Cassandra suggested to go into town. Bruce always said that the key to solving any mystery lied with people, as people like to talk. With only a rough idea to look for a Crimson Gourd, the two oddly dressed strangers would have been hopeless had Gohan not been able to speak the language and gather what little intel they could. They learnt that people from the town had gone missing. The trek to the mountains was claiming more and more victims, something that was highly unusual for the area. They had a lead, but it still confused the pair why time travelers would send them specifically to deal with a missing persons case. Feeling like they'd work better on a full stomach, the pair managed to get a meal in a small shop run by a man named Kong. Just as they were about to eat, Mr. Kong began to yell at a thief, a figure holding a bunch of stolen dumplings, running across the tables and knocking over Gohan and Cassandra's food.
Sorry about that. See ya! Was that? I think that was Mr. Kakarot.
No,
Time travel is so strange. We can't interfere. This actually could have done untold damage to the time stream.
Just as Gohan had finished his warning, Cassandra darted after the monkey boy, an eager grin on her face, as Superboy panicked and then tried to give chase. This was Cassandra's chance to test herself against her master. She wouldn't let this opportunity slip by.
Whoa, that guy's really good. This is a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
Cassandra was now right behind Kakarot, who was leaping and darting through the town's architecture. Batgirl was able to keep pace, using her grapple to follow the boy's incredible jumps. His movements began to become clearer and clearer to Cassandra. The finesse Kakarot would achieve in his later years was absent, and what remained was a boy brimming with passion, but just a boy.
when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master!
With a low leg sweep, Cassandra flipped Kakarot over, and the boy responded by flipping backwards, getting into a peekaboo boxing style, bobbing and weaving in place. Impressed,
Ah, that was so cool! You're super strong, I can tell. Are you friends with her too?
Her?
before her question could be answered, Gohan arrived and landed between the pair. The Super Saiyan really didn't want this to escalate any further. given the risks involved.
Enough! We really, really can't be here! Whoa! You're flying! Oh no. That is so cool! Can you teach me how to do that? I have to use a cloud right now, but it'd be super handy to do it on my own, too. And your hair, it's all glowy. Well, you see,
Special shampoo.
that makes sense.
Are you caught, Kent? I would have thought you beyond that by now.
Cassandra looked up, and to her shock, saw her mother. Or the girl who would become her mother. But for right now, the resemblance was striking, causing Cassandra to drop her concentration, overwhelmed by the sight. She hadn't seen Shiva in years, and didn't know what to say or what to do.
Yo, Sandra! Sorry, but these guys are crazy powerful. I couldn't get away, but I think we should try fighting them.
I see. Interesting. I could use the challenge.
Shiva leaped down and struck Gohan in the neck. The Super Saiyan, however, gave no response, as the blow seemed to have no impact. Shiva then shook her own hand, clearly hurt a little by hitting such a tank.
Listen, you really don't want to do this.
Oh, I really do.
The martial artist jumped forward again, executing a pitch-perfect combination that Gohan calmly dodged and deflected, not wanting her to hurt herself by hitting him directly. One of the dodged punches, however, was not a punch at all, as Shiva opened her palm and sent a few shurikens flying towards a bunch of civilians on the streets. Gohan barely managed to react in time, flying down and intercepting each and every one. Shiva then took this chance to vanish, starting a fire by kicking over a lamp and strengthening the flame with a handful of gunpowder. The town was quickly starting to burn, as an inferno had risen up thanks to Lady Shiva's efforts.
This is amazing. I can't even predict her moves, even though I'm stronger. Guess I was right coming here to learn more martial arts. It's just the best.
Yes, it is.
I really do prefer fighting to all that stealing stuff anyway.
Why steal?
Well, Shiva says it's good training. She told all the people to not let up on us at all. She told me that it's all just pretend, like a game.
Cassandra pointed down to the people trying to put out the fire that had been started by the young Shiva.
Is that a game? Find your path. Do not follow.
Huh? Well, I guess that does make sense.
Time to go, Kent. We have but moments before the Golden Warrior halts the fire.
The Sky Child called his faithful cloud and picked up Shiva, the two ready to fly off. Shiva locked eyes with Cassandra, and the two were in a standoff of sorts. Both women feeling the connection between them, if only one of them could understand it.
I hope we meet again one day. You would be a worthy opponent.
I shall try to be.
And I want to meet you again, too. Tell your friend he was really cool.
Cassandra bowed to her future master as the two flew off and vanished into the distance. Gohan, who had just finished saving the town from any major damage, arrived on the scene, and while he was annoyed at having been outsmarted, he was mostly just relieved that no serious timeline alterations seemed to have occurred.
That was really strange, but kind of nice seeing Mr. Kakarot so normal. He's always been so strong. I thought he was always that way.
He is the best.
We really have a long way to go, huh?
Yes, together.
Right. Well, I'm glad the town is all right.
Gohan!
Superboy dropped to the floor and was now sound asleep, only waking up an hour later as Cassandra was pulling him along in a small cart towards the mountains.
But Oh! I actually don't know how to describe it, but my key hurts?
Shiva, her first attack.
The blow had been a nerve strike, but not aimed at Gohan's actual biology, but his ki channels. Shiva was a master of the human form, both physically and spiritually, and she knew methods to bypass all durability. But one needs a much more intense type of training to strengthen their spirit.
Like my aunt before. She must have taught him that.
Gohan asked Cassandra why they were heading towards the mountains, and Batgirl explained that as Gohan was knocked out, the book he was reading from before the trip had dropped out of his costume. The cover showed a monkey riding a cloud, exactly like Kakarot's. She could barely read the words, but thankfully, it had some helpful pictures, and Mr. Kong recognized enough of the story and its similarities with what had made the townsfolk go missing to point the girl in the right direction. The story told of a cave where a giant demon held its victims in a magical gourd, a crimson gourd, like the time travelers had warned them about.
Pack your things. We have to go.
But why?
Those two that we fought, they'll come after us, and we can't take them. Yet. We have to find another town.
But I thought... Hey, did you lie? Were those people not pretending to be mad when we were taking from them?
Oh, you can't still believe that, Kent.
The young warrior and his latest master in a string of failed mentorships began a confrontation, one similar to those the boy had gotten into with his other teachers. Despite Shiva being a prodigy and reaching the peak of the martial arts community, she was still a product of it, focused on death. But the identity of Shiva was still new to her, raw, unfocused, and one that destiny would mold into the deadliest hands on Earth.
Lying is wrong. Stealing too. You're a great fighter, but that ain't no reason to be so mean.
I don't care. That is weakness. The boy today, I could feel it. He had more power than I could ever dream of. But I still beat him, because he cared. Follow his example if you wish. It will end the same way. You will lose.
I don't care about losing, but I care about how I win.
I will not let you become a liability to my goal. You're as useless to me as Ras Al Ghul. Strength comes from drive. You must know what you want and take it. Do you even understand what you want, Kent?
From outside of Kakarot and Shiva's camp, a nearby mountain erupted into green flame. The boy looked off into the distance at the chaos. He had no idea what was going on over there, but he did know what his answer to Shiva was.
I want to be strong, and the best way I know to do that is to help people. It's what's always worked for me.
Superboy and Batgirl dodged out of the way of another swing of the demon's giant fan, the wind from it blowing holes into nearby mountains. This mythic entity had appeared before them before they even got near the cave. Superboy took charge, but his blows were proving ineffective. The demon was of magical origin, and it seemed physical attacks were totally useless.
I'll try to stop him. Cass, you need to get to safety.
The word stop appeared on the crimson gourd in kanji. However, nothing came of it at first. Cassandra refused to run and threw a couple of batarangs towards the creature's eye, which surprisingly did some damage to it.
Zatanna, thank you.
Cassandra had taken to carrying enchanted gadgets should she come up against magically powered foes. However, the brief reprieve was cut short, as the beast's fury was now focused on Batgirl.
Cass, stop! Run! You can't fight this thing!
Gohan shielded Cassandra from the wind blast, but suddenly, his form was sucked into the Crimson Gourd. The word stop now fading from it. Cassandra had no idea what had just happened. Superboy was so powerful. If a weapon could overpower him, then it should be invincible. Why didn't the creature use it from the start? Unless there was some kind of trick to the device. Whatever it was, didn't really matter, as the Batgirl had to focus on staying hidden from the demon's gaze. One wrong move, and she'd be dead. Cassandra concentrated on everything that had happened, following her training under Bruce, under Barbara, remembering the facts, the chain of events, correlating the evidence. She kept focusing on Shiva, her mind only being able to focus on the look in her eyes when she saw her. Same look Shiva always gave, even if the body was younger. Cassandra was never good enough, never strong enough. No matter how much she sacrificed, it was never enough.
Jingle Bong, extend!
The monster was struck down by a gigantic pillar slamming into its body, pressing it hard into the dirt.
Hey, Bat Person! Great to see ya!
Hello.
This guy's pretty big, but I think I'm gonna take him on now.
Kakarot jumped into the air, landed on his cloud somersault, and began to use the magical staff to keep the monster at bay, extending it and expanding its width, turning more into a battering ram than a pole. The attacks seemed to be working, but Cassandra protested the boy's recklessness, remembering what had happened to Gohan just a few moments earlier.
The gourd! Magic!
Cassandra didn't have the words to warn the boy properly, bringing her mind back to Shiva. Always Shiva. The person who gave Cain the permission to create her, to forge her, to take away her humanity. Now, that training was going to get them killed.
Now I'm gonna hit you really hard!
The demon began to laugh as Kakarot's grip on his staff faded, being forcibly pulled from underneath his cloud and sucked into the gourd, just like the others before him. The kanji for Gunner disappearing as Kakarot did. The cloud and staff landed on the ground, with no user to guide them.
Not good enough. Left me. Again.
Cassandra knew her limits. She knew that no matter how strong she got, there was a cap on human potential. That wouldn't impress Shiva. If that wouldn't make Bruce's legacy live on, if that wouldn't make her follow in Kakarot's footsteps, nothing would. But then she remembered Kakarot, what she had said to him. Follow his own path. Maybe that's what she needed to focus on. Not the mother who left her, not the father who broke her, not even the family who found and rebuilt her. Just her. What she could do. And that meant she could save her friends. Batgirl was in the open. She was no longer hiding. The demon rose slowly to its feet and shook off the damage the young Kakarot had managed to inflict. Cassandra Cain picked up the Ryu Jingu Bang and stepped onto the cloud somersault, flying slowly up to the demon, who now took notice of her. She grabbed her cowl from her utility belt and pulled it over her face.
Next fall under your own words.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Record.
The beast attacked Cassandra with a lunge, but she was a natural with the clown, evading the blow effortlessly and smacking the beast with a quick flurry using the staff. She struck nerves, eyes, knocked out teeth, tripped up, anything to attack this monster in a way it had never felt before. Systematic destruction, with a bit of style. Cassandra danced with her new weapons. A ballet of motion followed each of her attacks, spinning around the pole and leaping between the sections of the cloud. Finally, the creature became so enraged that it focused purely on attacking, trying to goad some kind of word from Cassandra. However, for this speech-focused demon, Cassandra was probably the worst foe in the world for it to come up against, and she took the chance to use her staff to knock the gourd out of the giant's hands, then quickly grabbed it by leaping off the cloud.
No!
Record.
No!
As most tales tell us, undefeated monsters are normally not too bright when the tables are turned. Cassandra let out a sigh of relief before twirling the Ryujingu Bang once more, giggling at how much she enjoyed using it. Cassandra's joy was short-lived, however, as she quickly realized that while she'd won the battle, everyone was still locked inside the Crimson Gourd. She wasn't sure how to release them at all. At first, she tried opening it, turning it upside down and shaking the captives out. That didn't work. She considered breaking the gourd with the Ryujingu Bang, but she was worried that doing so could lose her friends forever, until she noticed something. It was Gohan's book, dropped during the heat of the battle. Cassandra sat with the book. Though she had just battled a demon and had a run-in with her worst enemy, this was looking to be her greatest challenge of the day. She flipped through the pages, hoping to find an answer. Sure enough, she did. A picture portraying those trapped in the gourd being freed. But the most crucial part wasn't shown through pictures. It was told. Her parents had created her to be a weapon, a perfect soldier, one who would have no need for language. It had taken her years to grow beyond that. Barbara had begun her studies, teaching her to speak. Movies helped her not only grasp words, but come out of her shell too. But reading was so much harder. Gohan had insisted that they spend some time on the farm studying, exercising the mind as well as the body. But while violence was easy, this has always been an insurmountable wall for her. The girl stared at the squiggly lines on the thin paper. She desperately tried to remember everything she'd been taught. She worked her way through the page at an agonizingly slow pace.
I've got a gourd too, Monkey replied.
Cassandra continued to struggle through the text. It seemed to never end, to never give her what she needed. She felt annoyed that something only seemed interesting in fighting, a first for her. But at last, she found the magic word, the way to free someone from the gourd. She had to read it though. She had to be brave.
Release everyone trapped by the demon!
In a burst of light, the gourd began to produce dozens of people. First, Kakarot, then Gohan, and then several people from the village. But most surprisingly, the 4 Legionnaires, that had set them on this quest to begin with.
Batman, Superman.
Mr. Gohan? I never thought we'd meet you.
But you brought us here.
We what?
The time travelers looked at each other in shock and confusion. They had come to the past to capture a time-hopping criminal who used future technology to terrorize the past in ironic ways, but they were caught in his trap in the process. The heroes of the future, present, and past all struck up conversation to figure out what had happened. Gohan was the one who figured out that a future version of the Legionnaires must have gone back in time to grab Gohan and Cassandra to save their past selves, letting them go back to the future and complete the time loop. The young Kakarot was very confused by all the talk and decided to take his exit. He'd helped out, and that was enough for him. The gathered heroes waved him goodbye as Kakarot continued his mystical adventure.
Can't believe I got to see you, Cassandra, and Kakarot Kent on the same day.
Mr. Kakarot's pretty great.
I mean, yeah, sure, if you're into that stuff, but like the two of you, wow.
What?
We just want to say thank you. You might not believe this, but sometime soon, you'll change the world.
Cosmic Boy set up the time sphere and they all got in. Gohan having the good sense to close his eyes for this trip. When he next opened them, they were back in the Kent farm kitchen. It was early morning now, and the tub of ice cream was melted on the table. That didn't stop Mattie lad from eyeing it as if it was some lost masterpiece.
Is that ice cream? Can I eat this?
It's already melted.
That flavor isn't even in the records!
The Legionnaire lifted up the entire plastic tub of ice cream and took a bite out of it. Literally. The heroes of the future said their goodbyes and vanished. Gohan and Cassandra looked at each other and decided to try and finally get some sleep after their grand adventure. Cassandra walking off towards the staircase, only for her heart to sink as she saw her mother coming down the steps and preparing to leave through the front door. She had been checking on Kakarot's condition, but this was unknown to the two young heroes.
Cassandra, aren't you up early?
The girl froze, her mother standing before her again. An awkward silence filled the room. Shiva left. Gohan walked into the room after hearing the door close. He looked at Cassandra, who dropped to the floor.
What happened?
Mother... I'm not a weapon!
Hey, listen. I understand.
Gohan consoled Cassandra, but her silently cried beside him, saving her in a different way.
Wow, I had no idea they both suffered so much.
Wish we didn't have to see that, but I can make sure the time loop is stable now, which is a relief. These calculations would be a lot easier with a 12th level intellect around.
I felt so ashamed watching our younger selves when they saved us from the gourd. We built them up as idols in our minds, and they were just two gawky caveman kids. But knowing that they had a future, a legacy of their own, beyond their parents, gave them the confidence to keep fighting. They'll need it, as their greatest battle is still to come.
Hey, it's me, Kakarot! Man, my friends on the Justice League sure are powerful. I don't know if I stand a chance against all of them, but I'm super pumped to try!
It will suffice. I could use a victim. Like the low-class trash you are, you shall look up at your prince and beg for death.
Next time on Dragon Ball DC, the strongest under the heavens will be decided.